Welcome to Leaseweb Tech Talk, the podcast exploring tech landscape, cloud hosting, and IT infrastructure. Whether you're a professional or new to tech, Leaseweb Tech Talk got you covered. Join us for latest trend, business cases, insightful interviews, and useful tips. Welcome to Leaseweb Tech Talk. I'm your host, Pamily and today I'm here with Shanook Jaansen, who is the product manager and CDN expert here at Leaseweb. So Shanook, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. And today we are going to speak about CDN and various aspects of it. Are you excited?
Yeah, let's go over it.
To start the session, Shanook, firstly, I would really appreciate if you can explain what is CDN and what does it do for our listeners.
So a CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. So basically it is a network that is connected to different POPs, like points of presence, data locations across the globe that can send your content to users as quick as possible. That's what the CDN does. It delivers your content as quick as possible to the nearest location of your end user.
Okay, and we hear all these buzzwords and all these terms about single CDN, multi-CDN. What is the difference and what each of the CDN mean?
So a single CDN has a global network. Usually they say that they have a global network, which is often the case. That means that they have different points of presence in the world. Usually what happens with a single CDN is that they're very focused on a specific geographic location. So they're more dominant in a certain region. Let's say in Europe, they have most of their POPs in Europe, and they also have POPs in the Americas or in Asia. So what multi-CDN providers are trying to do is to create the benefit of having different single CDN providers and offer that as one single CDN solution so that you can benefit from where one single CDN provider is dominant in terms of geo presence and in terms of pricing, that you can benefit from that based on one offering and one price, so that you don't need to think of your strategy in what is the best single CDN provider for a region that covers a global presence, basically.
Okay. So what I understand about the multi-CDN, it's an aggregation of various providers, and according to which geographical location you are sending the content, you choose the provider. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's a bit of multi-CDN. It depends on how it's offered. So at Leaseweb, it's offered that it's an automatic switching layer, so the customer cannot choose which CDN provider they're picking. The CDN provider is picked based on which one gives you the best performance for a certain request, which one has a better geo presence for that end user request. But there are also multi-CDN setups where you can pick the CDN providers that you want to choose for your CDN mix. There are also do-it-yourself multi-CDN providers, so you can set it up yourself, and then you can pick the geo-focus that you need against the pricing that you need for that specific area. Because every CDN provider has different pricing in different geolocations, basically.
Okay, that's great to know. So when a business is new to the industry, say either e-commerce or any startups, how can they choose CDN? What is the right strategy to start with?
So it really depends on what your business needs and what you need in terms of content delivery. Yeah. So basically what a CDN does, it distributes your traffic evenly, choosing the best path for a user request. So if there's a user in Japan, if there's a user in New York, if there's a user in Germany, for example, based on if they want to see or load your website, it chooses what is the best, closest POP location for you, what is the best CDN provider, what is the best route for your request to be sent to you. So if you are looking for a CDN, then you need to consider where are your end users based. If you have a global base, then it would be wise to use a multi-CDN provider because that gives a more equally distributed global presence. If you have specifically your base in your end users using or streaming your videos or website in Japan, for example, then maybe it would be good to pick a CDN provider that is specialized in delivering content in the Japan area. and then also you get sometimes better pricing for a CDN provider that is specialized in that area.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So every business, their main goal is to make profit. So what are the biggest or the major advantages of having CDN or implementing CDN strategy in the business?
So making profit is not only having a lot of customers buying your product, but also customers wanting to keep buying your product.
Exactly.
So in order for customers to keep buying your products, you also need to think about performance. So with a CDN, it helps you to generate the best performance. So for example, if I have an e-commerce website and there are endless users that want to buy something on your website and they cannot do it because the website loads too long or it keeps giving you outages, you don't want to buy there, and then you lose customers basically. So you also need to think about what is the best performance. How can I make sure that my customer base can reach my website? And how can I do that against the most cost-effective solution? Because you don't want your customer, the traffic being too long of a distance to your customers. So let's say my origin is in New York City and my customers are in Hong Kong, for example. The distance from New York to Hong Kong is quite long, and you pay for that amount of distance to send your traffic to Hong Kong. So it would be better to use a CDN that is closer to Hong Kong, that can send your business and your website faster to the end user, which is also saving you money.
Yeah. And we see different industries, fintech, gaming, and many more.
Mm-hmm.
And is there any specific industry you would say that would benefit more using CDN than the other industries? Anything like that? Or it can be fit for every industry?
No, it can be fit for every industry. It just depends on what you want to do, obviously. So if you are a business that is continuously sending a lot of traffic globally and you're dependent on low latency so that it is delivered fast to your end users. So for example, software updates. People don't want a software like the latest phone software update to take days before you have updated that phone software. Like people don't want that because then you can just use your phone for days. So if you have that problem, you want fast software update delivery. So that is very important. But if you don't, and also the financial industry, if you want to do global payments, because people go on vacation, people want to use and want to have access to your money. If you are, let's say, in Thailand on vacation, you cannot access your money because the transactions are not coming through. You also have a problem. So it benefits every industry.
Yeah, that's interesting. When you told about the software updates on phone, it reminds me every time my iPhone gets the update and it just takes 2 minutes, but it feels like forever.
Exactly.
So I can definitely understand how a customer would feel or any user would feel if the payment's taking long or when they're shopping, it's taking long. It makes totally sense. Just to understand, because we spoke about major advantages, what are the drawbacks of CDNs?
Just to get back to what you're saying about the phone updates. So what you see nowadays is that users are so used to having their information directly ready to them. They don't want to wait for their iPhone to be uploaded or that the software is updated. They want to use their phone immediately.
Exactly.
So it really becomes a generation of they want to have access to their content immediately.
Exactly.
The disadvantages of CDN, if you don't manage it, if you don't have people and you want to set up your own CDN, for example, it can be complex. But that's why you also have a lot of solutions that are having, that you can use a CDN provider and they manage the CDN for you.
Yeah.
You do need a technical person in your company that can configure the CDN and can resolve some issues or look at the traffic under real life monitoring that usually you get with your statistic dashboard. But other than that, there's no issues with having a CDN.
Yeah.
It's just the right setup, and you can really benefit it from your business.
We have discussed a lot about like different POPs and how you are transferring the content. Is CDN expensive? Is it a big investment for the business?
You can have, it can be low, but it can also be high. So it depends on how much traffic you generate and also to which provider you're having a CDN. But you can have it from €100 a month to thousands of euros per month, depending on the type of business, depending on the type of provider, depending how much traffic you send. So,
Totally.
I mean, the investment is worth what you get back from it. The performance, user experience is improved. Also, you don't have outages with your content, which also helps you with churn.
So we were in IBC 2024 here at Amsterdam, and we did interview some of the CDN providers out there to talk about benefits of CDN or the right strategy of choosing CDN. So let's listen to them.
Yeah, that's great.
Hi, my name is Laura Thompson. I'm the Senior Vice President of Engineering at Fastly, which is an edge cloud platform, sometimes known as a CDN.
We actually came here together to get a bit of your knowledge, and I would really like to know what are the key considerations for choosing a CDN?
So it's a really great question. It's funny that you ask me that, because as a vendor in the space, it'd be easy for me to say, oh, you should focus on these three things. But I actually think what is most important is what is important to your business, right? And sometimes it is about what is the lowest possible latency, right? Like, it's all about having the end users have the best possible experience. And it might be, what's the shortest latency between, the app and the user? It might be about cost management or origin offload. Like, how can I make sure my cloud bill stays under control? And it might be something else. It might be about high degree of interactivity or security or something else that's important to you. I do think there are a number of other factors to think about. And one of them, which sometimes is not mentioned as much as it should be in the CDN space, is customer service. I think we've all had this experience of dealing with different cloud providers or software vendors, and maybe the products are pretty similar, right? Or you're not quite sure from the outside how much better one is than the other on a feature perspective. But when it actually comes to when you have a problem or when you have a question, how good is the response to that? And that, it's very hard to quantify that. So sometimes it gets left out of sort of scorecards when people are evaluating vendors, but it's incredibly important because you need someone that will partner with you when things are not going well. And that's what we see as our strength here, actually. People come for the technology and stay for the customer support. So I think that's incredibly important.
Well, thank you.
Hi everyone, so my name is Laurent Cupertige and I'm responsible for sales engineering at CDN Networks.
Thank you, Lauren. So we'll jump to our first question.
Sure.
We want to know what is your advice for our audience when it comes to choosing the CDN strategy for their business?
Well, I would say that when you decide to go and choose for a CDN, you have to be careful and pay attention to multiple factors. Of course, one of the most important ones would be performances, reliability, reach, security, value-added services, and support and services. So to get into more detail, I would say that performance is extremely important and you have to make sure that end users will get the most performances that they deserve. You have to make sure that your network gets a high efficiency and a global reach in order to make sure that all the users, wherever they are located in the world, will get good performances. You have to make sure that your transmission are secured to avoid any security breaches. And you have to also rely on a robust infrastructure in case you have a massive increase of traffic to make sure that your CDN can handle this kind of situation. Also, you have to make sure that the vendor, the CDN, is using the latest technology, such as Quick or any other features to make sure that the performances are on the top. Finally, I would say that security is a must, and definitely you have to make sure that the CDN vendor that you will go with get as well some security services such as web application and API security protection to make sure that you are protected against DDoS, bot mitigation, API security, and web application firewall.
So my name's Emma Whitmore and I run the EMEA team at Edgio.
Thank you, Emma. So today we want to understand from you what are the factors a business should consider while choosing CDN.
But they're quite straightforward really in terms of resilience, reliability, and reliability really is a factor there. You need to be looking at quality, and quality really in terms of rebuffer rates, video start times, time to first byte, average bit rates, as well as the resilience and the reliability. So not just the performance on one day, but the performance over a particular time period. The other key thing to consider is the regional coverage. And so what regions are you delivering your content into? And does the CDN that you're choosing have enough capacity? And then if you're streaming live events, that's a very different quality and capacity that is needed for the streaming of those live events. And I would say price is a factor, but I'd say it's one of the least important factors, because penny pinching on a CDN isn't always the right thing to do. You need to have a quality and a resilience which is fit for your business. And sometimes it's a little bit more for that.
Oh, thank you so much, Emma, for that guide for our audience.
So, hello, Pamily. Very nice for inviting us. Thank you for that. My name is Arno. I'm part of GCore sales and business development team. I'm based in Amsterdam, and I'm responsible for the Benelux and EMEA region.
Hi, I am François Colobert, based in Paris. I've been working for the CDN industry for 20 years now. Joined GCore recently to take care of the customer experience organization.
So today I have two questions for you guys. The first question is, what are the factors business should consider choosing CDN?
First of all, there are several situations and topics to consider about that, right? First of all, for instance, inside GCore, we've got a super live distributed platform, smart platform, built from 180 different POPs across the world, with probably the largest peering, with the largest ISPs in the world. Of course, you've got to consider what kind of content, what level of security, SLA you need to have, what kind of level of security and support as well. So this is what we provide there.
So it's absolutely true. So the numbers of point of presences that you have is key. The latency is also very important, like how fast you deliver, and like also the safety, the redundancy of your network is also fundamental for many clients or many people we are talking to. If I may, what I see more and more often as well are like regulatory issues or like questions, like being GDPR compliant, making sure that data stays in Europe. For European companies, start to be more and more something important to sustain, and that we do at GCore as well, like being based in Luxembourg. And then, of course, you will have like a very transparent and like flexible pricing. Like CDN is everywhere, like a lot of company needs it. So you must be sure that you accompany companies with you when they grow. When they don't grow, it can happen. So to make sure that you're fair.
Okay, thank you so much for that lovely guide for our audience.
Okay, well, I think it was really nice to be at IBC, and it was very insightful to talk to other CDN providers, what they had to say about what the benefits are of using a CDN, because I really think that that's the future for businesses.
Thank you, Shanook, for being here. It was pleasant speaking to you and learning about the CDN. Thank you to listeners, and stay tuned for our next episode where we'll be speaking and diving deep into CDN. We hope you found this episode insightful. For more content, like, share, and subscribe. You can also subscribe to our newsletter at leaseweb.com/newsletter.